Good morning and welcome for those of you that are joining us. We're going to give it about 2 minutes to let others kind of dial in and find a seat. That's what I used to say. I'll be saying that soon. There are more good seats down front. Come on down. I think we're ready.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Chanel Frampton. I am the Director of Programs at Glaaacc, and we're so excited that you could join us for our workshop with Southern California Gas Company of how to contract with California utilities. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our president and queen, Miss Angela Gibson-Shaw.
Thank you, Chanel, for that beautiful, warm introduction. And good morning again to everyone. I hope everyone's week is going great so far, so good. And just to echo what Chanel said, welcome to Glaaacc in the AM. And this is our morning networking connection events. And today we've got a very special presentation for you, and it's how to contract with California utilities. As you know, the utility industry is well positioned for diverse growth over the next decade or so. They've got aging infrastructure that they need to repair and replace, as well as future technology that needs to be installed. And there's opportunities for all of us to participate. We've got a great program lined up for you today, but before we get started, just wanted to let you know, for those of you that are not familiar with Glaaacc, the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber of Commerce is dedicated to the growth and development of Black-owned businesses in the Greater Los Angeles area. Our mission is achieved by ensuring the business growth of our members, advocating on behalf of them for business-friendly issues, providing access to capital and other critical resources, and creating purposeful network environments like today. Let's begin by doing a little virtual networking. If you could, please put your name, company, and contact information in the chat box. Never know who's in the room. They might be looking for what you have, or the other way around, maybe vice versa. We'll also use the chat box throughout today's session to ask questions. And throughout the presentations, we'll be checking frequently to monitor, ask, and answer those questions. Again, I'd like to thank our Glaaacc staff for coordinating today's program. You met Chanel Frampton, our Director of Programs, and later on you'll meet Naomi Scott, our Director of Operations. Thank you, ladies, for all your hard work. See some great businesses there in the chat box. So this is giving folks here, our speakers, a great idea of who's in the room. One of the key elements to networking. You want to know who's in the room. So let's get started. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Vaughn Williams III. He is Program Manager of Supplier Diversity for SoCalGas. In this capacity, he's responsible for ensuring the advancement of small minority and underrepresented businesses. And over the last 18 years of his career in management, he's had the distinct honor of implementing several manuals on resource planning, career strategies, workplace etiquette, and human management, along with moderating various national panels on the topics of procurement and supplier diversity. He currently resides in Los Angeles, and I have voted him best dressed brother in the utility space. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present Vaughn Williams III.
Wow, well, thank you, Angela, and good morning, Glaaacc participants. It is my honor and pleasure to be here today. Let me say that I count it a privilege to be amongst this aggregation of distinguished community business leaders. Why? Because you are the fuel that ignites our power. You eradicate poverty and you emulate a thriving community. Your presence signifies hope for a brighter tomorrow, and I couldn't be more pleased to be amongst this selected group of people simply to greet you. As Angela said, I am Vaughn Williams III, Program Manager for Supplier Diversity here at SoCalGas. We are the largest gas utility in North America, proudly serving 22 million Californians. I manage several portfolios to include environmental, engineering, accounting, finance, IT, human resources, staff augmentation, gas acquisitions, and I dabble in fleet. Additionally, I am responsible for all of the technical assistance throughout the communities that we serve. And again, it is just an honor to serve you today because this is not my job, it's my passion. So thank you to the Glaaacc community who's joining us here today for this important conversation, particularly as we continue to recover from this pandemic. We truly hope that this program ignites your fire and provides you with the critical tools and resources that you need to thrive today, tomorrow, and beyond. Our supplier diversity program here at SoCalGas powers our mission to build the cleanest, safest, and most innovative energy company in America. And what I find most rewarding about this program is the diverse background and experiences that the suppliers, both new and returning, bring to our company. Each of you serve as a fresh idea, an inspiration, and innovation, and you permeate the innovation that this company is trying to bring to the world. More so, our program exemplifies our company's core value of simply doing the right thing, championing people, and shaping the future. So with that, I couldn't be more proud to serve under this company. Why? Because for the last 45 years, we've been doing supplier diversity. Long before General Order 156 was established, we started doing supplier diversity because we believe that it takes economic empowerment, and you all offer economic empowerment to the communities that we serve. Our team is passionate, and we just take great pride in doing what we do to make businesses brighter and bringing more businesses into the future of this organization. Let me also say that our goals started at 21.5%, which is what's set by the CPUC. But for 28 straight years, we've managed to exceed that. And in the last few years, we've reached 41.3. Our goals are aggressive, and we won't rest on our laurels. In fact, we went from a 38% goal just last year, and now we're at a 42% goal. So that lets you know that we are bold in what we do. And in closing, I'd just like to say that the most rewarding aspect of this job is seeing people like you navigate from scale to large. It's an honor to create opportunities for you as suppliers, not only to develop, but to grow and thrive as businesses. I'll give you one example And that is our own elite auto network who entered this space with hopes of opportunity. Their owners went through technical assistance after technical assistance, mentoring program with internal business units. They followed the guidelines of supplier relationships. And then one day out of nowhere, a bid came their way. And it wasn't a small bid either. They went from just meeting with us on a periodic basis to now having over 150 cars and commercial trucks in our capital projects. So you see, there is power in tenacity, there's power in patience, but most importantly, there's power in presence. So today and from going forward, I just encourage you to be present, to be adamant about what it is that you want to do and can do, and to understand the mission of our organization. And with that, you will thrive. Having said that, I thank you for being here today, and I encourage you to follow up and continue to be involved in not only Glaaacc, but in the supplier diversity community, as it takes you to create opportunities and it takes you to thrive in today's world. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaughn. Appreciate those opening remarks. And of course, we appreciate your partnership with SoCalGas and Glaaacc on bringing today's program as well as other programs throughout the years that we've partnered with. Also appreciate your friendship. And as you mentioned, Christine is a Glaaacc member and had worked and networked with you guys for a couple of years before she was able to land that very huge contract. And so you're right, it really takes the tenacity, showing up. And again, I invite people to put their information in the chat box because we are taking a look at who's in the room, wanting to know more about you and vet you and see what opportunities that there are for SoCalGas and for each of you here. There's lots and lots of opportunities. But before you are able to experience a contract with SoCalGas, you'll need to be certified. And so we consider this to be step one in the process. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what that is, what that looks like, and what it requires from you. And so our next speaker is Stephanie Green. Stephanie is from the Executive Division of the California Public Utilities Commission, where she oversees the General Order 156 Utility Supplier Diversity Program. She also has responsibility for government and community relations groups. In this managerial role, she's had the opportunity to develop a strong rapport and working relationship with government officials, small businesses, community associations, and chambers of commerce throughout the state of California. Please welcome Stephanie Green. Stephanie? Unmute.
If you could put my presentation up.
Okay.
And if you could go to slide mode.
Give us a minute. We're transitioning. We're transitioning to pull up your PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. And thank you, Vaughn. I feel like I just went to church. Can I get an amen? You were on a roll. But I felt the spirit. I felt the passion. I love it. Okay.
That was
Well,
calling. That was us calling you, telling you your PowerPoint was up.
Oh.
No.
Let me just put this. So hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I am Stephanie Green. I am with the California Public Utilities Commission, and it is my pleasure to oversee the Utility Supplier Diversity Program. And I'm going to talk about our program a little bit, talk about a little bit about certification, and then we're going to transition to our Supplier Clearinghouse, and they're going to talk about certification a little bit more. So next slide, please. So first, I want to tell you a little bit about the CPUC. So we regulate privately owned electric, natural gas, communications, water, railroad, rail transit, and transportation companies. So that means companies like SoCalGas, Southern California Edison, San Diego Gas and Electric, PG&E. Then we have companies like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Frontier, water companies like Golden State Water, Cal-Am Water, rail companies like Union Pacific and BNSF. And then you have transportation companies like Uber and Lyft. So these are just some of the firms that fall under our jurisdiction. And we also ensure access to safe, clean, and reliable utility services and infrastructure at reasonable rates. We protect consumers against fraud, and we promote the health of California's economy. So that's a little overview of what the CPUC does and how it impacts you on a day-to-day basis. Next slide. So I want to tell you about the Supplier Diversity Program. The Supplier Diversity Program is in Public Utility Code 366 and 8283. And basically what it does is it requires the utilities and electric service providers to submit plans for how they're going to increase procurement from women, minority, disabled, veteran, and LGBT businesses. And it's WMDV, LGBTBE. That's a lot of letters. So I'm just going to say diverse instead of trying to say all those letters. But it's actually the plan for how they're going to increase procurement, but then also their actual report on how they did, what their implementation was. Then it also requires CCAs, community choice aggregators, to submit plans and to increase their procurement from small, local, and diverse businesses in all categories, and also to submit diverse procurement reports. And then it encourages cable television and direct broadcast satellite providers, wholesale power generators, distributed energy resource contractors, and energy storage companies to adopt plans to increase procurement from diverse firms. And then it requires the CPUC to report to the legislature. So the legislature is tracking this performance. And so General Order 156 provides a framework to execute this diversity program. And it has a voluntary goal of 21.5%. That's 15% with minority, 5% with women, and 1.5% with disabled veteran business enterprises. So 21.5% with diverse firms. LGBT, we don't have a goal yet, and we have an open proceeding, and that goal setting is a part of that. But we do have an open proceeding, and we'll be making some updates to GEO. But overall, what this slide is really saying is, these are some big industries, big companies that are in our neighborhoods, they're in our communities, and we want these companies to give back. We want them to be doing businesses with companies from our communities. We want to make sure that their vendor base looks like their customer base, that they're giving back to all communities. Next slide. So what's the order of magnitude of this program? What does this program really mean? So in 2020, this is what the program Diverse Procurement looked like. They did almost $12 billion with diverse firms. 30% of their overall spend was with the diverse firms. And you'll see that 10% was women-owned, and almost 18% was minority firms, and 1.8% was with DVBE. And I'll just tell you, with regards to African-American firms, last year, these firms did $1.4 billion in businesses with California African-American firms. And that was 18% of the minority spend. Now, I will say that's only 3% of the overall spend of the utilities. So we have a ways to go. We're doing well, but we could do better. And that's why I'm so excited to be at an event here today to get to talk to some of our excellent African-American firms and to help tell you about our program. So next slide, please. Now, this year was the first year that the CCAs reported, that's the community choice aggregators. They were off to a bumpy start, I'll be candid. They did about $2 million this year, or 0.06% of their spend. And only about 0.02% of that was with minority firms. So the CCAs are just beginning their journey in terms of supplier diversity. And we will really be working with them closely to continue to increase their supplier diversity programs. Next slide, please. So now, how does this program work? One of the things that's a main component of the program is the Supplier Clearinghouse. And the Supplier Clearinghouse is supervised by the CPUC's Utility Supplier Diversity Program. That's myself and 2 of my staff. And then it verifies women, minority, LGBT status for firms. Now, DVBEs are are certified by the Department of General Services, and that data is imported into the clearinghouse. So the clearinghouse does maintain a database of all diverse firms. That's women, minority, DVB, LGBT. So the clearinghouse is a diverse database. Next slide. And the reason it's important to be in that diverse database is because it means you're certified. And what are the benefits of certification? Why should I go through that effort to get certified? And I'll give you just a few of the benefits. First, you get official recognition of your business as a diverse firm. This helps set your business apart in the marketplace. It's a marketing tool. And I'll say this, it's like you have a college degree and I don't. The college degree isn't going to get you a job. We both have to apply, but it might give you that edge that makes you stand out to get the interview and the edge in terms of getting the offer. Same thing with certification. It helps set you apart in the marketplace. It gives you a bit of an advantage. It also, if you're certified, you become part of the database that the utilities and CCAs and other entities use to find diverse firms. So these companies like SoCalGas, they use the database to find vendors. So if you're in this database as a certified firm, you're more likely to be found by these companies and to get an opportunity to bid. So it really increases your marketability and visibility. And I wasn't finished with that slide, please. And also the utilities are only allowed to count spend for firms that are certified. So they need you to be certified if they can count spend and count the activity they do with you. And most importantly too, the utilities, as well as the CPUC, we have different events and activities, even postings of positions. If you're in the clearinghouse and you're certified, you'll get included in that kind of notification. Next slide, please. So the Supplier Clearinghouse, I'll tell you a couple different things. First, you need to be 51% owned by a minority, women, or LGBT, and your management and day-to-day business operations must be in control by the woman, minority, LGBT to be considered a diverse business. Certification is free, and the application usually will be reviewed within 4 weeks. And your certification is good for 3 years. So next slide, please. And I will also say, in addition to the Supplier Clearinghouse, you can also get certified by entities like the National Minority Supplier Development Council, Women Business Enterprise National Council, National Gay Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, and if you're 8A, you can go to the SBA. And the National Minority Supplier Diversity Council is the leading minority certification entity, but they charge, and they're only good for 1 year. But the thing you should know about them is a lot of Fortune 500 companies, such as Kraft or American Airlines or Citibank, Apple, you work with the NMSDC. But if you do have your NMSDC certification, you can come to the clearinghouse and we have reciprocity, and it's a fast track certification process. But I just want to highlight that in addition to the clearinghouse, these are some other main certifications that you should consider. Next slide, please. And this is a slide to tell you how to find the clearinghouse. And again, they're going to be speaking directly after me. So next slide, please. And I would be remiss if I didn't leave with you with some pointers. I want to tell you a little bit about some of the recommendations that we've just found over years. So I want to give you my insider tips as a business owner. First, I would recommend you have to register your company with each utility supplier diversity portal. So every company, whether it's AT&T, SoCalGas, Verizon, PG&E's, they have their own vendor portal. You want to get registered in that portal. So that means you want to really come up with a targeted list of firms that you want to work with. And then you want to get registered in their portal. You want to keep your contact information current and up to date. Make sure you have a really good and current business website, because that's one of the first things a company will do is they're going to go to look at your website. Use all resources that are available to you. Chambers like Glaaacc are invaluable. Use those resources. Do your research on the utilities before you try and engage. Homework comes before procurement in the dictionary. You want to do your research first. Make sure that you are properly licensed and insured and meet all the safety requirements, because if you're going to bid, they're going to be looking at those criteria. So make sure you have that all lined up before you bid. Make sure you have the capacity to perform the work. You want to bid on the right size contract. Don't go for an opportunity if you're just not ready for it. So be honest with yourself about your capacity and the size of opportunities that you should be pursuing. Make sure you're open to partnerships and working with other businesses. Sometimes joint ventures can really be excellent and open up new, broader opportunities. Attend networking events and learning opportunities like today's workshop. Read the utilities annual reports. You can garner a lot of information about projects they have coming up, the types of opportunities they have, the types of vendors they use. I highly recommend you read those annual reports. Next slide. And that was my presentation today. I am always available for questions. Would love to hear from you. And please feel free to take my name and do try and find out more about the program and certification. And thank you. And with that, I will turn it back over.
All righty. Thank you, Stephanie. That was some really great information and background information for everyone that kind of lays the foundation. The nuggets that I took away were you got to do your research, and you may want to partner with other businesses. And so you also need to go on to the other utility portals, and you want to get certified. And so now I'm going to bring someone that's going to walk us through the process of getting certified, and that's Miss Jasmine Joseph. Jasmine Joseph is the certification manager with the Supplier Clearinghouse, and she has experience in compliance and process certifications, and she can help us for women, minority, veteran, and LGBT firms. And introduce Jasmine.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And give us a moment, we'll tee up your presentation.
Okay.
Okay, that's it's like 150%. Don't hit, yeah, that's kind of big.
Give me just a moment.
Okay, so while we're waiting on Naomi to tee up the presentation, I see some great folks here in the audience. Let's see, Marciela Macias, Trade Commissioner of Clean Tech and Infrastructure from the Consulate General of Canada. Welcome. I see CJ Mahoney. I'm not quite sure what you do. CJ, if you're still there, let us know. I see Louis Hirsch, a 56-year-old Inglewood lighting supplier that can supply interior, exterior lighting for commercial, industrial, and residential products. Please call us and email us. And so it's all the great information there. I think I see Vaughn taking note and taking a look at who's in the room. We have Ms. Kiana Shaw. She's CEO of KRS Training and Development. Her company teaches workforce and personal development for companies looking to improve their staff relations. And we need your contact information in the chat. Oh, here it is down here, Kiana at Kiana Shaw. Marlene with Snap Marketing. Marlene is a member of Glaaacc and provides some of our promotional materials. Thank you. And Miss Amine Livingston, Latanya Deloach. Who else do I see? Okay, here we go. I think she's going to set up the view. and we will be on our way shortly.
Okay.
Okay.
So hi, my name is Jasmine Joseph, and I'm the certification manager at the Supplier Clearinghouse. Stephanie covered Supplier Diversity Program, and I'll be answering and going over all of your burning questions of the certification process and how to get certified with the Supplier Clearinghouse. So what is the Supplier Clearinghouse? What is the primary function? Is this slide 2? Okay.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, thank you. So we are the ones that have the pleasure of certifying your company as a minority, woman, and/or LGBT business. We are the certifying entity under the California Public Utility Commission that operates the general order. Our database is accessible to the CPUC and to participating joint utility members. We also share procurement opportunities when requested by utilities and information about educational events and conferences. Next slide. What are the benefits of our certification? Well, utility companies with gross annual revenues of over 25 million are required to participate in this program. Utilities want to work with you, and if you're certified and in our database, you'll have, as Stephanie said, official recognition as a diverse business. You'll have visibility to the CPUC and utility companies, along with the ability to promote them. You'll have inclusion in marketing and bid announcement events. Next slide. So here are the current participating utilities. You'll see utilities like SoCalGas, PG&E, and other utilities that include electrical, gas, water, wireless telecommunication service providers, and telephone corporations. These utilities spend hundreds of millions of dollars in contracting opportunities. So why not you? You have the potential to be one of them. Next slide. So these are the procurement goals set by the CPUC: 15% for minority-owned businesses, 5% for women-owned, and 1.5% for disabled veteran businesses. And if you recall from Stephanie's presentation, as a whole, they've exceeded all of them. Some of the larger utilities have historically surpassed the set goals and have a significant portion of their spend dollars going to diverse businesses yearly. Next slide. So why get certified? Participating utility companies actively encourage, recruit, and utilize suppliers that participate in this program. You must be certified through Supplier Clearinghouse to participate in the Supplier Diversity Program. If you're not certified, there's less of an incentive for utilities and prime contractors to use your business as a subcontractor. Next slide. So, who can get certified? Women, minority, and LGBT-owned businesses are the certification types you can apply for. To be eligible for MBE, the presumed minority groups include African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, and Asian Pacific Americans. The women, minority, and LGBT owners must have a minimum of 51%. And it is not enough just to be 51% owned, but we also look at control and management of the daily operations to qualify as a woman, minority, or LGBT business enterprise. Under the additional programs, you'll see the DVBE and SBA 8A. If you're enrolled in the SBA 8A program with the Small Business Administration, you may receive reciprocal designation as an 8A firm. DVBEs certified by California Department of General Services are automatically recognized in the Supplier Clearinghouse database. Next slide. So, how to become certified? When applying for WBE, MBE, or LGBT, we have 4 application types. So first is our standard application. This is our longest application. This is usually for the bigger firms or the out-of-state businesses. We have a fast track application, which is our streamlined application. This is for firms that are headquartered in California. Their annual gross is less than 3.5 million, or they have 25 or fewer employees. And don't let the name confuse you, because all applications go through the same review process. This is labeled a fast track application because it's faster for you, the applicant, to fill out, and there's less documents required for our initial review process. If you're approved with the standard or fast track application, you will hold a 3-year certification with us. We also have our shortest application, which is the comparable agency application, which we call the CAV. If you're already certified with one of these agencies, WeBank, NMSCC, NGLCC, we honor that certification and find them to be comparable. They typically certify for a year, and we only certify through the date of their certification. If the date on their certificate, if you have a certification with them and the date on your certificate shows an expiration date of December 31st, then we would certify you through December 31st. The only drawback is it's a 1-year certification as opposed to 3-year certification, but this is the only application that has a 3-day turnaround time. So it's a preference and whichever you would like to fill out. And then we have our renewal verification application, which is, again, minimal documents compared to the fast track and the standard. We verify ownership changes and structure changes, and this is also a 3-year certification. So if you want to apply, what would you do? You would submit an application through our online portal. Everything is electronic. Applications are reviewed within 4 weeks of submission. So we have 4 weeks to look at your application, but we usually look at it before then. What usually holds up application times is missing documents. So you want to make sure to spend the time to go over all the details and submit accurate information. And then, of course, as Stephanie mentioned, this is free, unlike the national certification. So the only cost is your time. Next slide. So this is what our website looks like. This is a snapshot of our website. If you would like to apply, you can click on you could click on apply. If you want to know more information, you could click on do I qualify. If you already have a login or want to create a login, you could click on the login button. If you're having issues, you could click at the top right-hand corner, contact support. And then at the end of the presentation, I'll have our contact information so you can also contact us as well. This is a copy of the required documents for our fast track application, and I know it's blurry, so I just want to highlight a few things that are required during the application process. So first, a copy of our affidavit signed and notarized. Due to COVID right now, we're not requiring the notarization part, just the signature, but that's required with all applications. You would need proof of U.S. citizenship, so passport, birth certificate should suffice, proof of gender if you're applying for WBE, proof of ethnicity if you are applying for MBE, a proof of LGBT status if applying for the LGBTBE. All applications require a most recent copy of your business tax returns and extension if applicable, resumes of all owners, business bank account information, so you would get a letter from your bank identifying who the signers are, and then all of your corporate, LLC, and sole proprietor documents associated with the company. I hope that doesn't intimidate any of you. Next slide. So here's our website. You can contact us at info@thesupplierclearinghouse.com, and then you can call us at 800-359-7998. You can ask for me. Any of us can help you and walk you through the application process if you have any additional questions. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jasmine. That was some great information. I saw a listing of all of the firms that are participating in the clearinghouse. And so again, as I believe Stephanie mentioned, take a look. We're going to send you a copy of the recording. So you'll be able to see of the list of all of the utilities that are part of this program. You can go online and look and see what they have to offer. And, as you get certified, you'll need to be certified in order to do business. But that's a great look to go look at AT&T, Comcast, SoCal Gas, SoCal Edison, T-Mobile, Golden State Water. There was lots of folks in there, so that's great. I'm going to pick the fast track application. And then I thought what was great was Jasmine left her phone number. That's something we don't see often. And so again, when you get a copy of the recording, you'll be able to contact Jasmine if you have any problems navigating the process. So thank you again so much, Jasmine. Okay, and so now our next speaker is going to summarize a few nuggets of today's presentation. And this is Justin Talbert Stern. He's a Supplier Clearinghouse Program Manager, and he's going to walk us through. Oh, I've got something about here. No, Justin has served as the Program Manager of the Supplier Clearinghouse since 2015 and oversees the operation and the technology to manage a directory of over 8,600 certified diverse suppliers. He's also the CEO of B2G Now and the system architect of its software platform. B2G Now provides software to 350 of the largest government and corporations in North America to track their participation of small and disadvantaged businesses in their contracting programs. And so he is the architect of the Inside Track. And so at this time, it's my pleasure to bring to you Justin. Welcome.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you. Well, it's delightful to be with all of you here this morning. Usually when the Clearinghouse gets requests for us to participate, I pass them on to the team, to Jasmine, because they are the analyst and they tend to steal them away from me. But in this case, I really wanted to join you and share some perspectives. For some reason, I always get last billing on the list. I always get to play cleanup. And then coming after Vaughn and his inspirational words, I'm pumped up today. And then Stephanie and then Jasmine, it definitely does set the bar really high. So what I thought I'd do for you today as members of Glaaacc is to just kind of bring it home for you. We certify over 3,000 firms a year, and with a total directory, as Angela mentioned, over 8,600 total at the current time. That means we see a lot of situations. We talk with a lot of firms. We help diverse firms like yourself go through challenges to get certified and to do business with the utilities. And we really want to empower you. We want to facilitate this. We are not intended as a block in any way or to slow you down. We want it to go fast and quick so you can get on with the business of operating your business, generating revenue, paying your staff, and serving your customers. But we often do see a lot of hangups. So I've prepared some tips and tricks, if you will, so that I can share them with you and we can wrap up on these items. So let's walk us through, Naomi. So this has been mentioned to you a couple of times before. There is no cost to apply for Clearinghouse certification. It is provided as part of the Cpuc and the Joint Utility Servicing. And that allows you to come into the program. You don't have to pay that fee up front to get certified, to be considered, or to be renewed. I'd like to point out that it is really important to understand the eligibility requirements to be certified. This is the single biggest hangup for firms. I know that we've been talking about General Order 156. It is a government order. It is legalese. It is legislative speak, but it's actually surprisingly easy to understand. And it's very clear about who is eligible for this program in terms of ownership, in terms of control and management and facilitation. So it is worth your while to take a look at the eligibility requirements. It is linked on our website. You can also find it on the Cpuc website, and it will save a lot of time down the road in terms of trying to understand who can apply and who it's not eligible for. There are, as Jasmine went through, there are 4 application types that are that you can qualify for. I'm not going to go back into the detail, but I want to highlight that those applications are based upon your location. Are you in California or not in California? Your size of firm, so smaller firms are eligible for that fast track option, and that streamlines the application on your side. And then your status. So if you are certified with one of the 3 main national councils, we do have that highly streamlined application form for you. As you go through the process, we have a page that we call the decision tree that will take you through a series of questions and help you identify the best match for who you are, for your firm's location, your size, and your status. And that, again, is designed to save you time and process. You can apply for any of the combination of the certification types we have. That's the minority business enterprise, the women business enterprise, the LGBT business enterprise, and then the disabled veteran. Of note, and as highlighted before, the disabled veteran is handled through California DGS. But for those first 3, you can choose to apply which ones, you can choose to apply for which ones are relevant to your firm. If you are an MBE and you'd like to add one of the other designations due to your ownership, control, and management eligibility, you can submit what we call an addition application to get that included. In fact, we just received a referral in the last 24 hours from a firm that Vaughn spoke with, and that we're helping them walk through that process of consideration. Next slide. Okay, a really important aspect that we recommend is to get your house in order before you submit your application. So once you submit that form and those documents, consider it locked. We are going to evaluate your eligibility based on what you provided to us at that time. And so if new things come to light, or you go change something, or you realize you made a mistake, for the most part, it's too late. So it is best to understand the requirements of the program, to look through your things. There is no need to submit, a half-baked document. Make those updates. If you need to speak with legal counsel, if you need to go to the Secretary of State to get a copy of something, if the copy of your birth certificate is, faded out or not, go take care of that first before you submit. We will still be here when you come back, and we can still help you out in the review process. But those changes and any alterations to your documentation and to your status are not accepted once you hit submit on that application form. It is imperative that you check those documents and the answers to the application form questions before you submit for accuracy. I'll mention in a second how that can really slow things down. Jasmine spoke earlier about the processing timeline, and we do process almost all applications within 4 weeks. However, that is from when your application is complete. You may have the best looking kids on the planet and the cutest cats, and you just took the best vacation to South America, and that is all wonderful, but those are not appropriate documents to submit in lieu of your tax return. We will certainly enjoy taking a look at that and we will have a chuckle, but we will have to follow up with you, and the clock doesn't start until we have what is considered to be a complete and full application. Lastly, on this page, sign the affidavit, please. There is an affidavit form you'll need to sign. As Jasmine noted, at the current time, the notarization is optional. We recommend it, but it's not absolutely required right now. But please sign it. We actually do get a lot of folks who kind of in the rush of getting things in, they forget to sign it. And then we've got to come back, we return the application, point out that it's not signed, and that just adds unnecessary time. And right now, we want to save you time. So please just consider that as you go through the process. There is no urgency. There is no deadline of when you have to submit an application from our perspective. Maybe with a joint utility, you have a bid in play, but from our perspective, we're pretty flexible. When you start an application, there will be a timer of 90 days that starts, and that is just simply to help you move through the process in an expeditious fashion, but it is not a hard stop. If you need more time, you can self-extend that deadline, or you can contact a clearinghouse and we'll help you out with that. That's just to make sure that you're not, you don't start an application today and then you come back a year from now and finish it off and submit it with old info. We want to keep things fresh so you get proper consideration. Next slide. So something we always recommend is if you have a question, ask us before you submit the application. As Jasmine noted, we have a great team of analysts and practitioners. Many of us operate business or have operated businesses before. We understand the position you're in, but we'd like to help you out to understand, to comprehend what is needed and what's irrelevant. We cannot coach you on what to do, but we can certainly give you a direct factual answer to a question that you have. So if you come and say, I'll give you an example. One of the eligibility requirements for a minority business enterprise is that you must be 51% or more owned by a minority. Not 50.9, not 50.1, not 50.00001, 51% or more. That's the way it's written in General Order 156, and that's the rule we have to follow. And so if you have a question, you say, hey, my ownership is 50.5% minority owned, our answer will be, then you are not eligible. Now, how you get to 51%, that's up to you. How you want to allocate your ownership and things like that, that's your call, how you operate and run your business. But please ask us, we're here. Jasmine provided the phone number, which I'll repeat on the screen at the end. We have email in the system. You can submit tickets and we'll respond to you. We like an educated, informed, and trained directory. So we always want to help you out before you submit that application. A couple of things I want to talk about, the key criteria that we have. It is important to establish the eligibility of your qualifying owners. And there are a lot of options. So if you're applying for WBE, LGBT, and or MBE, the application will provide the documents that are needed. In some cases, there are options. You can provide one or the other or a combination of things. One thing that comes up a lot is around birth certificates. If you're going to use your birth certificate, or I think you can use parents' birth certificates, it's got to have, if you're applying for an MBE status, it's got to have ethnicity on there. What we found is that the California issues short versions and long versions. I believe you need your long version. That will make things a lot easier for you in terms of the information on that form so that the clearinghouse can do its review. You want to make sure that you can demonstrate through your answers and your documentation that the eligible owners, the qualifying owners, have management and control of the firm. We do see a lot of situations where it's kind of on the edge, where there's maybe an admin assistant has been elevated to the CEO level or something like that, and that's a tough call because we need to be able to see that those people, that person or persons, understand that business, can manage that business, control that business, and own that business. So those are some common things that catch up firms during the review. Take a look at your company and corporate documents. Does everything match up? We often will see that maybe in one document you're listed as the president, and another document you're the professional engineer, and a third document you're just a member or a partner. You want to we do find that we are kind of like forensic analysts, and we go through everything that you submit, and we may ask for additional information. So please, go in and make sure that all that stuff is there and that it is all matching and consistent. And does it tell the right story of the founding and the history of your firm and the current status? Are there any gaps that you need to clarify and fill in? The last thing I'll mention is it is important to document how you acquired your ownership in the firm. And you might think, well, I just founded this on my kitchen table. And, I used, my credit card to pay for some things. That's a great story. That's your story. Document that story and upload that file to your application. If you bought it from your mom or your dad or a family relative or someone completely unrelated, you bought it from the previous owner, there's going to be documentation around that process. Again, that goes back to making sure that you've got your house in order and that everything aligns and is good. It is sometimes necessary for the clearinghouse to seek clarification and or additional documentation. We probably in about, a quarter to a third of all the applications, we do have additional questions. To keep things moving in a timely manner, please respond to these requests as soon as possible to facilitate a timely decision. Again, you're not on your own out there. If you have a question about what is being asked, give us a call, ask for clarification. We're happy to help. Too many times people kind of just, try to make it up and guess at what we're asking, and then we're going around in circles, and finally we just get on the phone and hash it out. So it is better just to go right to that final solution first. It saves you time, it saves us time, and it gets you certified faster. In a couple of cases, we do site visits. Obviously, currently, right now, site visits are not done in person. Someday, hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll get back to that. But we do phone and video interviews where we'll ask questions, and I will roughly say that it's randomly selected more or less based upon our quality control and our process to make sure that we are certifying firms that are legitimately eligible for the Clearinghouse and the Cpuc program. Okay, next slide. All right, so you've received a lot of information today. I know it's often like drinking from a fire hose. I hope we can hit 100% success rate. Anybody on this session who's not already certified, we're looking forward to seeing your applications come through, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. There are a couple things, and Stephanie has touched on this, and Jasmine has touched on this. There's, last year it was almost $12 billion in diverse firms. That's just a phenomenal number. And really, when you think about it, I don't think any of us can truly fathom that kind of information, that kind of dollar amount. I'm reminded of Scrooge McDuck and his rooms full of gold. It's a lot of money. There's a lot of opportunity, and that means that you can easily, in that competition, have a good shot at participating in this program. We will, at the Clearinghouse, handle your certification. We will assess your eligibility, and we'll provide your certificate and your approval letter, but you must handle your own business outreach. And so once you obtain that certification, please review the kinds of services and products that each utility purchases. Jasmine went through the different types. There's telecom, there's energy, there's the cable companies, water companies, all different types, and they buy different things. Some of those will be relevant to you. Maybe all of them are relevant depending on your type of business, but go and register in their bidding systems. And yes, they all have different bidding systems. These are all independent companies. Unfortunately, at the moment, there is not a common place that you can go and register and get all of the bids and the RFPs and the contracts. You do need to engage with each one individually. If you need assistance, someone like Vaughn, this is Vaughn's job. He is there to assist you and to grow the use of diverse firms with his utility. So if you need assistance, he knows who buys what. And so go to him and say, look, I sell widgets and I'm having some trouble figuring out what I should do or where I should go. He would be delighted to assist you. We see this with the 20+ joint utilities on a daily basis, working with new firms, existing firms, bringing firms back into the fold to make sure they have a fair bite at the apple. I mentioned the bidding opportunities. We did actually earlier this year launch a bid board where we are beginning to consolidate public opportunities that the utilities post. And that's seen some good traffic. So we've got the utilities. We actually have some other local agencies that have submitted some opportunities. You can go to our website, our Clearinghouse portal, and you can click on bid board. We also have some contractors, some of the larger contractors who have won substantial engagements with utilities are sending us their subcontracting opportunities. Because it's nice to go out and win $1 billion project, but there's not a whole lot of companies out there that could be successful at that. So really where sometimes there's a business is at that subcontractor level, the tier 2, the tier 3, the tier 4. So we have been encouraging those contractors to share those opportunities with us so we can post them for your benefit. All right, next slide. And this is our final slide. So want to invite you to join us and the other 8,600+ diverse firms. It is the largest directory in the country for the utilities industry. That's our website again, and our phone number and our email address. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, we'd love to help you in this process. And like I mentioned, we'd love to see all of you in this program, submitting your applications and receiving approval so we can get you on that directory and start doing business with Vaughn and his colleagues across the utilities. Thank you. Back to you, Angela.
Justin. Thanks, Justin. So how about a round of applause for all of our speakers? Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Vaughn and SoCal Gas, for bringing your friends today from the CPUC and the Clearinghouse to share with our attendees the different opportunities and, even more importantly, the pathway to begin to do business and to contract and procure with California's utilities. Justin, from your commentary, again, no cost, you guys, there's no cost. It's free to get certified with the Clearinghouse. I like the part that it's also opportunities to submit the combination kinds of certificates, right? So that would be for the women and minority women that are in the audience. That would be very helpful. But also keep in mind there are no changes after you submit it. And I know that we do that a lot with emails. You know, we've got those flying fingers and we send it off. And then we've got to correct that one word that made such a difference in the email or the text. So be sure that you don't do that when you're submitting your application. And $12 billion. So that sounds like there's opportunities for everyone to participate in that as diverse suppliers. So that's great. All right, so that really concludes the basic pieces of our program. Please stay tuned and be sure to come back because this is just part one of a 4-part series. And before we wrap it up with closing commentary, Vaughn, would you like to unmute and do you have any closing comments?
Sure. Thanks, Angela. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who attended. I hope the information that you received from both the Clearinghouse and the Commission was beneficial to you. I personally encourage you to get certified. Why? Because it truly does make a difference in your procurement experience with the utilities. A lot of times when we evaluate to see which suppliers are either certified or are participating via subcontracting opportunities, when we don't see anything on that sheet, we put a 0, which could really be crucial to your, or detrimental rather, to your outcome. So if you do nothing else, get certified, give us a call at SoCal Gas or any of the joint utility agencies, and make sure you create relationships. Because when we think of opportunities, we want to think of you. We want to say, oh, we need construction, we need lighting, we need janitorial. We want to be able to have you in mind. We want to be able to call you or text you or email you and say, hey, this opportunity's here. Do you want to take part? And oftentimes we find that people do want to take part. So make sure you create those relationships. We're very approachable. If you see me out in the street, just holler. Literally, because I'm happy to embrace people. One of the things that this job allows us to do is formulate relationships that are beyond the workplace. And so with that, I just thank you. I encourage you. And in fact, I empower you to do the right thing, get certified, and do business. Thanks, Angela.
Great. Thank you again. Thank you again, Vaughn. Let's see, I see a question. The only question I saw, will attendees get a copy of these presentations after the workshop? And the answer is yes, we will. We will send the link, that is the recording, that will send you to view a recording of this. Let's see, before I bring on Ms. Naomi for our closing commentaries, I'm just trying to see, is there anything else that I left out? I see 3 Angelas. Let me just say this. I see 3 Angelas in this video. And so just got to give a shout out to the Angelas here today. All righty. So with that, I'm going to give it to Naomi. And you guys make sure you come back for part 2. Thank you. Take it away, Naomi.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Naomi Scott, and I am the Director of Operations at Glaaacc. And it is so great to have you all here with us. And I'm sorry, I just need to do one more technical thing. Okay, and I just want to ask you all if, or share with you all the opportunity to join Glaaacc today. So Glaaacc is a Chamber of Commerce, and we put on workshops just like this, as well as an opportunity to meet fellow members, do business with other members, and to be a part of an organization that allows you to, get your foot in the door in a lot of instances. You can join our chamber at glaaacc.org. Membership does start at $125 annually for small businesses. And then I'd like to share some of our upcoming events that we have. So one of those member benefits that we have coming up today at 4 p.m., if you all are available, you can come by Glaaacc Member Meetup. It's a new program that we launched during the pandemic, and it has taken off. And so Glaaacc Member Meetup allows our members to have an opportunity to introduce themselves in a small, intimate setting, and allows members to get that one-on-one partnership. Some of that took place today here in the chat, but also an opportunity to do that later today at 4 p.m. We'd like to invite you to join us at our step 2, Glaaacc and AM, how to do business with the utilities on October 12th at 10 a.m. Following that, we do have another Glaaacc member meetup in October on October 26th at 4 p.m. And then lastly, I'd like to invite you all to our 4th annual Women in the C-Suite event, where we get a chance to hear from those in the C-Suite, women doing their thing every single day of the week. And so on October 28th, we ask that you join us for that at 3 p.m. All of these events you can sign up for on our Glaaacc website at www.gl3as2cs.org. Would like to thank all of our speakers today and SoCal Gas for hosting today's Glaaacc in the AM workshop. And thank you all for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you later today at 4 p.m. or at our next workshop on October 12th. You all have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to helping and serving you here at the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber of Commerce.